Hello, and welcome back to the Into the Gravel podcast.
We have been experiencing all that the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix had to offer us, and it had a lot. It had heartbreak, it had controversy, penalties, and most importantly, overtakes.
Finally,
we're going to be digging into all of those things. But first, we've got to give a shout out to Oscar Piastri, who is our new championship leader.
I was like, what's he done for us?
Shout out, Oscar.
Okay.
I thought it was worth mentioning. He is the first Aussie to lead a World Drivers' Championship since Mark Webber, who is his manager, in 2010, I believe it was. So 15 years. So well done, Oscar.
So, yes.
Sad times for Lando, but happy days for Oscar.
Yeah.
We might as well jump straight into it and talk about Oscar's race. It's his third win this season. He's the only multi-race winner so far this season.
Multi-race winner.
Everyone else has only won one or none.
Because they suck.
Yeah.
And Oscar is the goatedness.
Yeah. I do think we're seeing... He's only in his third year, isn't he? But I do think we're seeing him really come.
A lot of people rate him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of done bits. The Do Bit Society.
Love Island. There's a reference.
But he's putting in some consistent times, feels a bit more comfortable in the car and confident in his ability than his teammate.
And I think what he lacked last year was quali. He often wasn't qualifying as well, but he seems to be...
Was he lacking that?
Not as well as Lando. If you look, Lando was beating him in qualifying most of the time, whereas this year he seems to be right up.
Well, Leclerc's losing his touch. The boy who's meant to be fastest single lap around a track.
Is it him or is it the car?
Wow.
We'll get into that in a minute.
But
Yeah. So, fantastic start. Oscar got away quicker than Max, which you don't often see. Max often is the first off the line. Oscar got ahead.
It was close.
It was close, but if you think that Oscar started behind and they ended up into the first corner with Oscar ahead,
yes,
that shows you what a good start. And then obviously, lap one, turn one, we have a bit of controversy? Controversial.
Obviously, Max wasn't going to take it lying down.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, where have you been? But Oscar...
Doing something else?
Oscar was ahead slightly. Max got off the track, says Oscar pushed him off the track. Oscar said, it was my right to that space because I was ahead.
He said, she said.
He should.
You're really tongue-tied tonight, aren't you?
I am really tongue-tied tonight. It's going to go so well. But what was your thoughts on the incident?
My thoughts are that they should install more gravel traps and put us as a sponsor.
Yeah, into the gravel.
And it kind of makes F1 more rubbish, because now there's so many circuits with the opportunity just to co-off. There's no real decision making happening. It's like, I'm just going to drive as fast as I can into that corner and I'm not going to give any room. Whereas if there's a wall or a gravel pit there, you're going to have to make a decision and you're going to have to give each other room at one point.
And then you don't need that penalty, because the penalty was because he left the track and gained an advantage.
But because there's just concrete, it has the two people at the front, there's no consequence.
Yeah.
In that sort of scenario, I think there should be some sort of... Well, the problem is it's the mix between driver safety and competitiveness. Like, they always put large runoffs on corner one. Yeah. But they need to put a wall or a gravel trap.
I think gravel is safer than a wall. Obviously, going to a wall, you're damaging your car a lot worse than if you're going into gravel. Gravel's just going to stop you.
But I think it was still good.
Yeah.
I think it was an interesting strategy decision for Red Bull not to give it back. Yeah. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of feel from, in a sense, that it all happened quite quickly with then the yellow flag, which again we'll talk about in a minute. But that sequence of events turn 1 happened and they were on turn 4 or something. They hadn't got that far into the Grand Prix before the crash happened and then the yellow flags came out, and then they couldn't have given the place back under the safety car. So I do think, but having said that, I don't think they would have given the place back. I don't think that even crossed their minds, to be honest.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they see in that moment and where they're looking. I think from many angles it's fairly obvious that Max just dives off into the runoff.
Yeah. And I think it's funny seeing Max get upset about that particular move, because that is a very Max Verstappen move. We've seen Max do that exact move.
Wow.
In different places.
We might be exploring why we think he got so upset.
But in the race when he got upset. But it's funny because he said he was never going to make that corner about Oscar, but Oscar did make the corner. Whereas in the past, when Verstappen's done that move, he's pushed the person off and got off himself. And then both joined the track.
I think there was both bad racing at fault, but Oscar was playing Max at his own game, which I think is good and what Lando should have done more of.
Yeah.
Because Lando didn't. He's still a bit off the edge of like, I'm going to dive right into this corner with Max and only one of us is going to come out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas really good racing, they should be giving each other racing room. They shouldn't be forcing someone else off the track.
No.
They should be doing clean overtakes.
I agree. But if you're both going to go into that, Max won't give you any room. And so most drivers will
Hence
give Max
why there
room.
should be a wall there.
Yes, but
Or gravel.
most drivers, and I think that's probably also why Max was so surprised, right? Because loads of drivers have said they race Max differently because they know they're not getting any room back. Whereas Oscar was like, there's no way I was leaving that turn in second, which is a great mentality to see.
It's the mentality you need to race Max.
It's going to cause a collision at some point for sure, but it's a great mentality, and he came out ahead eventually, didn't he, with the penalty? So paid off, I guess. But yeah, Max was fuming after the race, and as you
Sassy fuming.
But as you alluded to, I and other people on the internet have noticed something that happened after the race, which is why I think he was so mad. I don't think it was actually the penalty.
Yeah.
Of course you cross at a penalty. Of course you cross that you've not won the race. But Max usually gets over those things fairly quickly. He has a few things to say in the post-race thing, but he's usually all right, isn't he? But you see him get out of the car, you see him shake Oscar's hand, not Lando's, Oscar's hand. You see him shake Zach Brown's hand. And then, who should come up? I can never say his name. Mohammed bin Salim.
I just call him Salim bin Salim. Salim bin Salim.
MBS comes up to him. You can't hear what they're saying, but there's a very heated discussion. Max walks away and you see MBS like follow him as if like watching what he's doing. And so the theory is, and this is all speculation now, but the theory is that he said something like, don't say anything against your penalty, don't badmouth the FIA. Because then he does the really short interview with David Coulthard. I've never seen him do that before. David asked him a question, he just goes, I'll keep it short. Thanks for the fans coming out, see you later. It was like 12 seconds or something.
Yeah.
He was fuming in the cool-down room.
Yeah.
Which again, we'll come back to in a minute. But then all the post-race interviews, he will talk about the race, just not that corner. And whenever anyone brings up the corner, he's like, it's not in my best interest to talk about it. I'll get in trouble if I talk about it.
You missed out the best bit.
What was the best bit? Oh, yeah, go on, you say that.
On the podium, when they all do the champagne.
Yeah.
And Max just gets the bottles and has a little swig instead of...
No spraying, just downs it. Needs the alcohol,
And kind of has a little bit of a chat with the McLaren engineer.
Yeah.
And then kind of walks off.
Was not in a mood for celebrating. But I don't think that's just because he lost the race in the 5-second penalty. I can't see that being the whole reason why he's so mad.
bin Salim.
But if that is the case, it's quite concerning that the FIA are like resorting to that to be like, don't talk bad against us, because I think it's part of sport to be able to disagree with the decision.
Well, we'll see what happens in it, election year.
Yeah, true. It's not just for F1, is he? It's for everything. So
he's watching his back.
I know, but I just think you should be able to say, I don't agree with that penalty. without worrying you'll get another penalty.
Yes. He doesn't come from a place in the world where criticism is thought of as helpful and constructive.
Yeah, true.
This is like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mandalorian. It's a bit like this is the way.
My way or the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the cool down room, which we alluded to. Max obviously was sat in the corner fuming. Did you see the moment Oscar obviously knew that the lap 1 incident was coming up, because all of a sudden he was very interested in talking to Charles. He was like, I'm not going to watch, I'm just going to talk to Charles. And poor Charles like trying to make some sort of conversation. I haven't seen an awkward cool down room in a while.
Charles was being the mediator.
He was
trying to be.
Trying to be. But yeah, interesting to see how that will... I mean, we've got a week off now, haven't we? So he's got some time to simmer quietly.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's always interesting on Thursday, because that's when the media seem to pry the most about the previous race week. So
yeah, but they've obviously got a week for it to settle. So whether he comes back into it,
and you'll get some good answers from Christian Horner, and he'll say, "Look, yeah, we raced."
Yeah, I don't really like Christian, but at least he'll back him. He'll back Max. Did you see he printed off some pictures in this high-tech sport? No, I'm going to provide the footage. I'm going to print pictures off. Okay, but whatever you say about him, at least he's backing his driver and standing up for him, I suppose.
I think you would hope most team principals would back their own driver.
You would hope they would, yeah. It's one of their jobs. But yeah, what did you guys think about that incident? Write it in the comments to see if you agree or disagree with what went on. The other thing that happened in lap 1, of course, is the crash between Yuki and Pierre.
Smash bash, crash libash.
Wallop. Deemed as a racing incident. Lap 1 incident.
Yuki.
You think Yuki was at fault, do you?
I'm trying to replay it in my head. I can't remember.
Well, Yuki kind of came out straight away and said, oh, it's a racing incident. But when Pierre was asked before it was judged, he kind of didn't give his opinion, which in my opinion makes me think he thought it was Yuki's fault. But just didn't want to say it. It was interesting. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because there's so many cars all on the same bit of track in lap 1. It's a tight circuit.
Yeah, and they ended up retiring both cars.
Yeah, Yuki almost got away.
So no advantage gained.
No, Yuki drove off but then retired the car. So, yeah. The thing I didn't realise until I was watching the post-race interviews, though, was... Because that happened lap 1, right? Then the safety car comes out. Maybe it was lap 2.
Yeah.
There were 3 cars that actually pitted at that point.
Yes.
So Jack Doohan, Esteban Ocon and Gabriel Bortoletto, and then went 49 laps.
And it did great for their strategy.
It did amazing.
They came really high up the grid.
They did, and their tyres were amazing at the end of it. Genius. But yeah, I just noticed that. So yeah, anything else to say on that matter?
We love a safe crash.
A safe crash?
Yeah. I like a crash in F1,
Yeah, just not too dramatic.
Just not life-threatening. But a bit of tapping and touching.
A bit of spinning.
That sounds sus.
Spinning around.
I know, my little crashy boy Lance Stroll has tamed it down a bit.
Yeah.
There was a period last season where he was
crashing a lot.
Nudging into everyone's bottom.
He's 10th in the standings, so he's got a reputation to uphold now.
I know. His comment about the record is broke was
we're going to talk about that now.
Well, we can do.
Yeah, Lance Stroll has.
He's got the worst opinion. He must have people around him telling him he's the best thing since sliced bread every day.
Well, if your boss's son, you're not going to have him bad, are you?
Well, on that, isn't there the rumour that he goes in and dresses down the whole team on a Monday morning?
There's rumours, but yeah, who knows if that's true or not? I don't know.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say? Something
Well,
like...
if in case people haven't seen it,
Yeah.
Lance Stroll has now taken hold of the record for most Q1 exits
Yeah.
at 75 Q1 exits.
Yeah.
Took it over from K-Mag.
Yeah.
And he said if you put the McLaren boys in a kick Sauber, they would have that many exits too. Which, yeah, probably true.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I thought he said... Okay. I thought he said something else, but yeah.
He might have said something else at another point, but that's what I saw that he said. But I would argue that the Aston Martin has been fairly good. 2 years ago, Alonso was putting it on the podium.
Well, 2023,
Yeah,
they had a good...
they did.
Bit of the season.
You can't say, oh, I've been driving a kick Sauber and been at the back, so of course I've got that many Q1 exits,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Keep going. I'm just trying to look up what the quote was.
And also, he took it from K-Mag. K-Mag drove for Haas most of his career, who were more of a backmarker team, so it kind of makes sense that he was getting that many Q1 exits. Whereas, as we said, Aston Martin have had some good times, and Alonso has been in Q3 when Lance has been knocked out in Q1. So it doesn't really... I don't really think it stands, to be honest.
Yeah, he said put the McLaren drivers in the Sauber for 10 years and they'll have the most Q1 exits.
Yeah.
It's car dependent. Well, he's not in a Sauber. He's in an Aston Martin.
Exactly.
Which have had periods of the car being good.
And also in that, he's kind of telling everyone that he thinks their car is as bad as the Sauber, which isn't really great, is it? Or maybe it's just an excuse. Maybe it's just an excuse.
I think Audi will have something to say about that next year.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting if he's still around.
Well, the thing is, the only reason he's not been able to get out of the Aston Martin and into a better car is because he can't perform, and because the only reason he's in F1 is because his daddy Papa keeps him in the team. Like, how I don't understand how you can live your life being put into something because of privilege instead of like actual raw talent.
The thing is, though, something I've learned about F1 drivers is they will back themselves, so he probably doesn't see it like that. He probably thinks he deserves to be there and he's earned that.
I don't know. Like, I saw a clip where, like, he just gets out the car in the garage and, like, the engineers don't say anything. Like, no one talks to him. No one looks at him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the culture is not great.
No. Because you can't say anything bad to your boss's son, can you, at the end of the day?
Well, to be honest...
There's rumours.
Well, Daddy is selling off shares because Daddy needs some more money for Aston Martin.
Yeah.
And if they get another shareholder in with a majority and they say, how are we going to improve the money sit?
Yeah.
And if he's the odd one out, then he could be gone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But
times are coming for you, Mr. Stroll.
the only benefit is he's not actually been paid that much money. So that might be a one benefit. They couldn't replace him
By Aston Martin, I'm sure he has a surplus from
Oh, yeah. But I mean,
Papa Dada.
Anyway, that is very controversial. Let's move on swiftly from the Lance Stroll.
I think most people think it, though. Like,
yeah, they do.
There's so many people who deserve to be in F1.
Yeah.
And some people just sit in seats
They shouldn't
because
be there
they
anymore.
shouldn't, and who shouldn't be there. So
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So let's come from the back of the grid back to the front of the grid, and let's talk about Ferrari, and specifically Charles.
Ferrari.
Charles Leclerc did very well, getting a P3.
They only follow the Ferraris.
Yeah, poor Guido. So the thing that worried me, if I was a Ferrari fan, it would really worry me, is that Charles said that they basically did everything perfect. The pit stop was amazing. The strategy was good. He drove the best he could, and all they could get was P3. That's quite worrying, no?
I don't think it's that worrying.
No?
Well, what could Lando do?
No, but Lando wouldn't say I did everything perfect. Lando crashed in qualifying.
True. But
No.
but I don't think he was saying we had a perfect qualifying.
No, but he's saying we had a really good race.
Yeah, so I think if he qualified P1, he would have won.
No, I don't think they had the pace.
No?
No.
What have they done to the car?
They changed it all from last year, didn't they? It's clearly biting them in the bottom.
don't understand how they are getting things so wrong. Is it because they have a talent issue? Controversial, but they only employ Italians, as far as I'm aware.
Do they?
And the whole operation is in Italy.
Yeah.
Whereas basically away and isolated themselves away from the majority of where F1 and car development happens.
I mean, you couldn't move the Ferrari base.
Like in Italy, all that's developed is boutique cars.
Yeah. But people would move. I know of people who are in the car world that have moved from here to go to Ferrari. And they've moved to Italy to work there. Ruth Buscombe being one of them. Ferrari strategist at one point. Like people do move there. And she's not Italian, so actually they must be
they must.
Italians. But yeah, Lewis is struggling with the car in general, saying he has no grip.
Lewis, man,
grips with it.
has lost his...
Yeah.
I'm very negative today.
Yeah.
He's lost his star quality.
Lost his mojo.
Like, I still think somewhere down there he's a good driver.
Yeah.
But he's just lost some mental battle with himself.
Yeah.
And he's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
One day he can win a sprint and the next day he can be tumbling down. And this isn't new. He's been like for this for the past 2 or 3 years at Mercedes.
I really hoped the move to Ferrari would like energize and invigorate him and bring that back, but
like this is a guy who's won multiple world champions, 7 times he's won.
Yeah.
Like that, surely that skill and determination doesn't just go down a pipe.
No. But maybe there isn't that drive anymore as you get older. Maybe your priorities change.
And Alonso's not really pulled anything significant out since he's been back in the sport.
And also, I wonder if...
A podium? Has he even had a podium, Alonso?
Yeah, Alonso's had podiums with Aston Martin 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if for Lewis as well, though, because I think most people would agree that he's gone to Ferrari. This is his last team that he'll be at. He wants to retire after Ferrari.
We'll see.
I think that's his aim, right? Go to Ferrari, that's his last hurrah. So maybe there's a bit of that in his brain, like, oh, I'm winding down, coming to the end. I don't know.
That's not what Vettel did.
No, it's not what Vettel did.
Vettel won things for Ferrari.
Yes, and then moved on to another team. But maybe Lewis sees it as, I don't know, the last thing he's going to do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If he carries on, he's going to go down in the world's biggest missed opportunity in the history of the sport.
Yeah. Well, all the talk was, is he going to usurp Charles as the golden boy, blah, blah, blah. And Charles wiping the floor with him at the moment. So.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell. One last point on Ferrari. I did enjoy one of Charles' radio messages. Normally, the Ferrari radio messages are quite funny and controversial. This is just quite a sweet one, but also a bit sarcastic. Charles does an overtake, I think on George it was, and his race engineer goes, "Well done, Charles." And he goes, "Thank you, Brian." Just a bit sarcastically, but I just thought that was great.
We love to see that. Wholesome radio messages.
Yeah.
Fully approved by the FIA.
Yeah, exactly. No swearing allowed. Yeah. So then let's go to Lando. Don't really want to talk about this because it's a bit painful, but we have to talk about Lando. I mean, at least Oscar won.
Have to talk about Lando.
We don't talk about...
don't take it too far. You'll get Isney on the phone.
Yeah, I don't think they watch our podcast. It's fine.
They don't need to watch it. Lando snoopers out on the snooper net.
Yeah. Lando obviously had the big crash.
Norris,
yeah. Had the big crash in Q3, so qualified 10th. That was his big downfall of the weekend.
Correct.
And he was trying to make it up from there.
Correct.
Managed off P4, which I don't think is too shabby.
I don't think is that bad, no.
He could have got a podium, they're saying, but I think P4's, it could have been a lot worse. Damage limitation.
that car in dirty air doesn't perform as well,
No.
and we've seen that. If it's not up there qualifying, it's not in the. It's harder to get in the window. To extract lots of performance out of it. Like, did you see pictures of Lando when he got out of the car?
Oh, he looked awful.
He gave
everything
190% to that race to get where that was. Like Ferrari said Leclerc said they did everything perfect. And he came out looking like an angel.
He did.
Lando
I swear.
looked like his face was puffed up,
swollen eyes,
sweating.
Yeah, he gave it his all.
He pushed hard.
And kudos to him. Yeah.
But the other issue at Saudi is because it's an enclosed street track, you almost get like a vacuum tunnel of wind around, of dirty air around the whole circuit. So it's not like when you're on a big wide open track like in Bahrain, you get some dirty air and it kind of dissipates. You got to twitch.
I don't know shit.
And the air kind of dissipates. It's kind of all just like funneled back in this tunnel. So it's just hard. To keep and they were all having issues with keeping their brakes and tires and cars cool.
Yeah, I agree. But he did well. I do think I quite enjoyed his battle with Lewis. I thought Lewis
showed him some
Tucker's moves. Not even letting him overtake, forcing him to overtake into the DRS.
Into a window.
And then just going, thank you, I'll take that back. Yeah.
Some of the times I was like, if that was on the road, you'd be done for brake checking.
You would, because he really did. And he could have crashed into him, I suppose, couldn't he? But yeah, I do think that was I quite enjoyed that from Lewis. So he's got a little something in there.
But I think him and Max did that quite a lot. Because they always had moments where they were racing to the line, to the DRS line, because they wanted to.
Oh yeah, there's clips where they're both like braking because neither of them want to be ahead in the DRS because they want to get the DRS. So yeah, it's shown him some text. He could learn from that.
Well, it's all out the window next year, but yeah.
Yeah, well anyway. No DRS next year. But I thought that was quite funny. And then Oscar got to benefit from Lando's learning because the radio message to Oscar was, this is what Lewis was doing to Lando. So try not to overtake him in this corner. Try and overtake in turn one. And he was like, no, I'm just going to overtake here. And off he went, like in a really random place, which was great.
An interesting Andrea Stella said that's where he thinks lost Lando a podium spot. Was being held up there with Lewis.
Yeah, because he was catching Charles, I think, by the end. So, but there we go. But it's all learning, isn't it? And you can take that on.
It's all learning 6 years later.
I think it's good for Lando that we've got a week off just to reset. What?
You treat these boys like they have it hard. I know it's hard, it's physical, but some people have hard jobs that they do day in, day out. They don't go and fly back on their private jet to nice whatever they have, and they don't have Christmas summer breaks.
That's true, but they also don't have people on the internet saying they're the worst human being and no matter what they do, they're doing it wrong.
But that just comes with the territory. You don't go into big time sport without knowing.
But all I'm saying is he's on a bit of a run of bad form, so he needs a week to reset, to come back and say, right, here I am. I'm going to go again. I'm going to do
If only we all had a week to reset.
You have annual leave.
You could have a bad day at work and be like, at least I got a week to reset. Got a week to reset before the next day of work.
All right. Well, he's not having a whole week off, is he? He's going to be at the MGC doing stuff.
Moping.
No. I think people are so hard on Lando.
Designing a new car because the one he designed looks awful.
What?
That's a hot take. What? He designed like a boutique McLaren and I think it looks horrible.
I don't think I've seen it, so I couldn't possibly comment. But anyway.
Sorry.
I can't remember what we were talking about now. Yeah, I think...
Lando Norris,
I really hope that he can get on better form.
Boris,
I think people are very hard on him.
Johnson.
And I think you're in such a weird mood again today. I'm going to do another compilation at the end of this episode.
Well, you're not, because he didn't do very well this time.
Didn't. Awkward.
Like and subscribe. We're trying to get 100 subscribers.
Yeah, that is a good point. Please do like and please do subscribe. Or if you're listening on Spotify, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram.
And
It
we'll
all
give
helps.
you
A smile.
a smile.
Maybe if we get to 100 subscribers, we have to do something. I don't know what. We'll have to think about it. We'll think about it. Anyway. Let's talk about Mercedes. Mercedes. They were struggling this week. P5, P6. Not awful.
It wasn't awful.
But not. George was always on the podium the last few races. Where has he gone? Lost his
there was
little
a point
P-
where he was up there,
Yeah.
and I don't really know quite what happened.
Well, Charles seemed to take him.
Sorry.
That was loud. Charles seemed to overtake him quite easily. Lando obviously took him as well. I feel like they just didn't have the good pace they have
I think
been having.
when it's hot,
Yeah.
Mercedes struggle
Yeah.
to keep the temperatures in check.
Yeah. But everyone was struggling with their tyres. But yeah, I
But
suppose.
Mercedes historically have had issue with cooling their car. Because I think they set it up preferentially for performance over
Right.
cooling. There's a bit of
Right.
like a trade-off.
Fair enough. Did lead to an interesting radio message from George Russell. Did you hear him? About
No.
his tyres?
No.
How do you think he described his tyres?
What, the ones where he basically said there's a hole in it?
No, there was that where he said there was a hole in it, but he described it as a food object. What food object do you think he'd led
Donut.
into? Toast. My tyres are toast.
Yeah, but that's common turn of phrase.
No, but I just thought it was funny.
Oh, right. It's not that funny.
Any more things to
Diamond
say
toast.
about Mercedes? I don't really have much to say about them this week.
Well, either the F1 broadcast channel ain't broadcasting in at Antonelli's radio messages, or the boy ain't got much to say.
I mean, I think radio messages are on constantly. I think they just didn't. They broadcast what's relevant, don't they? So maybe it wasn't relevant. Yeah.
What's relevant?
Relevant to the story that's being depicted on the screen.
I think they did some back marker battles because the front markers were boring.
They did do some back marker battles, but Mercedes
Towards
weren't
the
really in the
middle.
battles, were they? So
No. Bit of Ferrari,
bit Ferrari, bit Williams,
bit of Williams.
bit of Racing Balls.
Oh, are you talking about Williams?
Yeah, they're my next point. Go on.
Williams doing a little bit of DRS training,
Yeah.
teamwork,
Liking the teamwork,
naughtiness.
doing the thing that Carlos invented a
On
couple of years ago.
Hajar.
Yeah,
So Carlos was in front,
He
I
was.
believe, and he was slowing down a bit to make sure that Alex was in DRS range, so
Yeah.
he could not be overtaken by Sir Hajar the Young.
yeah. Which is clever because I think Isaac did have the better pace.
Oh, I think he would have
He
passed.
potentially
yeah.
could have got.
But that's
yeah.
why they've given a team order to do
Yeah.
that.
But also, it could have helped Carlos because who's to say if Isaac had overtaken Alex, he could have then overtaken Carlos as well.
Yeah.
Alex.
Alex the Brave.
I can't say names. Obviously, we heard this last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Last interesting thing that happened then, Gabriel Bortoletto almost crashing into his manager. Awkward turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna have words on the flight back home.
Yeah, well, they did joke, didn't they? Alonso said maybe he won't get a dinner on the flight home.
Yeah.
So that was really awkward, but luckily they got away with it. So I thought we'd quickly mention F2 because we've got a new record holder in F2.
Yeah. Lindblad.
Arvid Lindblad, if that's how you say
Lindblad,
it,
mate.
has got the record for being the youngest driver to win an F2 race at 17 years, 8 months and 11
Lindblad.
days. Yeah, so well done to Arvid Lindblad. Did you also see the clip of him drinking the rosewater from the trophy? Because the F2 trophies look like a giant cup, so he and the other podium were tipping it in and drinking it, which I thought was quite
Very nice. Very nice.
funny. Yeah, and I also thought I'd mention F1 Academy. We don't have time to go into them now, but if you're a Ferrari fan, you should watch that because the Ferrari driver is winning that championship. So go
yes.
over that, you might have some hope. Sorry. That was very harsh.
Yeah.
Right. Moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to talk about our championship roulette.
Yes, son, I'm doing better
And that's
than
the end of the episode.
you. I'm doing better than you.
Yeah, I am losing
What
terribly.
team did you have?
I had Kick Sauber, and I got 0 points. And Scott, do you remember who you had?
Yes, I had Mercedes.
And how many points did
Better
you get?
than Kick.
You got 18 points.
18 points.
So I haven't added it up, but you're winning. So
No, I want to know my tail score.
I can add it up quickly now. Quick maths.
No,
Quick
it's all
maths.
right. We don't have time.
Okay. So we're going to spin again. I think I spanned first last time.
Do you want to do like 3 spins first, just to like, because I feel like it's a bit rigged. Maybe you should do like 2 spins and then.
Well, maybe we get 2 spins each and then decide.
No,
No, because what if we get good people? Just spin it. It's fine.
me first.
You first, yeah.
All right. Championship roulette. I'm gonna spin the wheel, baby.
Yep.
And we have.
No, keep going, keep going. Oh, you nearly got Kick Sauber.
McLaren. I said that you could like press it a few times to like mix it up. But no.
I press it a few times now.
No, well, we'll do this, and if you're not happy, we could do cut to another version of
I'm
it.
not happy. Right, spin. Oh, if it's Kick Sauber again. This is rigged. Oh, it's Williams. Okay, I'll take Williams. I'm losing anyway.
Good. Because we're keeping this version
I'm just going to spin it one more time.
to see what you could have got.
Red Bull. And one more time, just.
And then, so I would have got Red Bull, and
I'd
you
have
would
got
have got Williams
anyway,
again.
so let's just
This-
stick.
This app sucks, obviously.
Yeah, we need to get a new one, obviously.
Maybe that is what you're supposed to do.
What, you just
spin
spin
it
it
around
to-
manually,
What, and stop
and
it wherever
then
you
no,
want
and
to.
then press spin.
Oh, maybe. Anyway. Well, Williams gets no points, so
What do you mean? They got points?
they got 3 points.
Yeah, through trying really,
What?
really hard and giving each other DRS.
Actually, that's not true. They wouldn't have got 3 points. They'd have got more than that.
Yeah, 8th and 9th, wasn't it?
8th and 9th, yeah.
They would have got,
Whoa.
yeah, points galore, mate.
Yeah.
What did I get?
You got. Do you not remember? who you
McLaren,
got?
oh yeah,
I was
McLaren.
Right, so that's for Miami.
I've never had time.
I'm having a bad time. I'm having a really bad time. Whose idea was this, seriously?
What happened last time in Miami?
Lando won his first race.
Yeah.
So hopefully that brings his mojo back.
Yeah,
That's
hopefully.
true, yeah. Come on, Lando. you
Yes,
can do
come
it.
on, you can get me
Yes.
points so I can win my championship.
Yeah. I mean, I care more about my actual fandom than
Okay,
the
fair
championship,
enough.
but I can root for Williams at the same time. That's fine. So yeah, next week there obviously isn't a race, so we'll be back in 2 weeks with the race review, and we're going to do something else next week. So keep your eyes peeled.
Could be a live stream, maybe.
Maybe a live stream. Subscribe and press the little alarm thing so you know.
The little alarm thing.
Whatever
the
it's
llama
called.
that spits at you. Alarm.
Watch the video.
Yeah.
Yes. And on that joyful note, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.